Okay, I have 6 o'clock. Call this meeting Budget Finance Committee to order. Looks like we have 2 members missing. Mr. Walsh had called me and told me he wasn't going to be able to make it tonight. And have not heard from Ms. Jones. Maybe she'll come in a little bit later. I believe everyone else is here other than them. Appreciate you coming out. Don't have a lot tonight. A lot of times at the end of the year, we're still trying to put together the final figures. First thing that we have is to review the minutes from the June 20th meeting. They're there in your packet. Is there any questions, any additions or deletions or corrections to that set of minutes? Mr. Harsh.
Move to approve the minutes as written.
Okay, have a motion to approve. Mr. Gully is second. Any questions on it? Seeing none, all in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? No. The minutes are approved from the last meeting. You do have the county's trustee report of your trial balance, the amount of money on hand in the various accounts. And looking it over, I didn't see anything that jumped out at me. Anyone see anything there that they have a question about? Give you just a second to scan over it. I must say, I think it looks very good. Yes, sir. Mr. Ford.
I don't know if it's on or not. Is it, looking at debt service, looking at the amount that we have in debt service there, how much of that have we got committed? Or is this the balance and there's more to be committed from this amount here? We got that much money, we need to be paying some debt off. Is there any more to come out of that particular fund?
Not for 22. No, that everything's been spent for 22. So what is which answer are you looking for?
Well, I guess what I'm looking for, if we got that much at the end of 22, this is carrying into 23, isn't it? Looks to me like we could pay some more on debt.
Then I would suggest coming up with a solution and proposing it to the committee.
Okay.
I believe the figure you're referring to is ending balance at 799.
Mm-hmm.
Is that what we're talking about? Is any of that encumbered or toward anything? Okay. How did that grow by that much?
The 300,000 from Core Civic was put into that fund this year, and that's probably why it looks more than normal. For 23, that amount is being put into 171 capital projects. But there's still 300,000 sitting in 151 for 22. Is that correct, Mayor?
Yes, it is. And one of the things we want to look as we get into the jail is to move that over to the capital projects, because if you use that 300,000, now 600,000 you've got from Core Civics, you shouldn't have to use any taxpayer money to pay your architect and other professional services.
So 300 of that was that money that we parked
Extra money. we got.
basically in that category.
Okay.
And we should have another 300 coming in pretty quick post haste. And as we had talked about before, I think the mayor's absolutely right. That was what we were hoping to be able to, some of these fees that we're going to have to front on the jail, professional fees like architect and engineering design fees and things like that, we'd have that money to be able to use for that. If we didn't need it for something else. And I think that's, what we've talked about in times past, I believe. And, I think that's a good use of those funds. That answer your question to your satisfaction?
I guess so.
Well, I know that we can, some of these that, yes, that money's there, it could be spent. But then you're looking at, when you drop that away, then you're dropping your fund balance down. And you can't spend every category down to zero, or you wouldn't have a fund balance to meet your statutory requirements on it. Sure. Well, I think last year, at the beginning of the year, we were at 598. So it's actually less. If you take the 300 off the 799, you dropped it back to basically 499, which is about $100,000 less than you ended last year with. So depends on how you look at it, I guess. Okay. Okay. Do you have something in mind that you wanted to put this toward?
Not in particular,
Okay.
unless we're paying on our, where everybody meets. I don't think we're about 600,000 on that.
Chairman, do we have a figure yet on what we anticipate, or do we have a firm figure on engineering fees? They just mentioned a while ago that some of that's probably earmarked for engineering fees, and didn't know about what that figure would look like in the grand scheme of things.
On what now? What fees?
Fees, engineering fees on the jail.
Well, we just now had our first meeting with the architect and
Right.
Going over
So
the
it's early.
contract. Their fees are a percentage of the total price of the project until they get some sort of preliminary design to be able to get some rough figures. Then
Yeah,
we'll
so we
know
don't know.
more what that figure will be.
Yeah. Okay.
I think,
Might be prudent to hold back a little bit because you don't know if that's going to be yet. Yeah.
I mean, Professional Selections Committee has picked an architect and,
Yeah.
we did meet with them and, go over their contract. The mayor's looking at it, Mr. Beller's looking at it, trying to, nail down, I guess you'd say, the fine print. A lot of it is also, when you don't pay it, you pay it kind of as you go.
Okay.
As they provide services. Am I correct on that, Mayor? If I'm misspeaking, please give me a sign over there.
Yeah, no, they have their services are divided up into categories like preliminary design and this stuff, and they bill monthly as they go through those sections. And plus, there'll be not just the architect, but there'll be geotechnical engineers have to come in, do soil drillings, and I mean, a whole lot of other services that'll have to be paid out of it.
Did that answer your question? Okay. Any other questions? We picked Spirit Architectural Group. They're one that's, I guess you'd almost say one of their specialties is jails. They've done a lot of them in the area. We looked at a couple of the ones that they had under construction, and we had 5 architectural firms that replied to the RFQ, and it was probably 3 of them that were, I don't want to say equal, but almost equal. You know, maybe they had a strong point, one area, you know, which is more important, but Spirit Architectural Group is who we contracted with, or in the process of contracting with. Mr. Clarity, you
So
recognize?
where's this from? Where are they located for their headquarters or whatever? Where's this company located? What part?
They're in Collierville, Tennessee.
Collierville, just outside Memphis. What's the closest facility they did around here? Do you remember?
I think it was Bedford County.
All right, on back to this trial balance. Any further questions on it? If not, we'll move on. We do not have the usual monthly reports on the summaries. Still trying to close everything out, get everything in and paid for the very last. There's a lot of adjustment had to be done on salaries and payroll and things of that nature. But I'm sure we'll have it next month. I'm sure we'll have it next month. Okay. But I think we wound up the year really good stead. Didn't have any major surprises at the very end, other than the trash truck that had to be bought at the last minute. But thank God we had the funds available to be able to do that. Mayor, do you want to make any comments on the year-ending budget? We don't have the figures, but certainly I know you've been dealing with them.
I'll wait till Miss Amy has the final figures. There's always little things rolling in here and there, but I think we're going to finish in a pretty good spot.
Miss Amy, did you have anything you needed to tell us or ask us about concerning that at this point? Appreciate all your hard work on that. I know it's a monumental undertaking. Let's see, move on into our discussion items for tonight. First, we have an ordinance 2014-2022-14. This is an amendment to the budget. Evidently, school and the budget that was presented left the 143 school food services out of their budget. The auditors caught it. We had been told that it didn't need to be a part of it. Now they have decided it does. So instead of having to repass the whole budget, they went ahead and did approve our budget as presented. It has been approved by the comptroller's office. If we make the amendment to add this to it, it does not affect our figures in any way, because this is all federal funds that come through and pass through on food services and things of that nature primarily. So that is what that amendment is. Anybody has any questions on it? Amy, did I explain that well enough? Mayor, anything to add? Sorry we had to do this, but it was just one of those things that happens from time to time. They change what they want to see. And this is just one of those things. So if you see there at the end of the budget amendment where it's all signed and everything, it says that there's a fourth reading was held on July 25th to include Fund 143. That will be our next Monday's meeting. And we only have to pass that as an amendment on one reading. Okay, so that's what that one is. Any questions on it? I want everybody to know what we're doing and why. Okay. Next is ARPA spending, EMS educational assistance, $30,000. If you flip over to the very back of your packet. Mayor, I'll let you explain this one, sir.
When speaking with Director Beatty and other EMSs, they all, or at least the majority, have some kind of tuition assistance program through their EMS services. We had initially had one, oh, I guess somewhere around 2012, 2014, somewhere around in there, but it was only for paramedics. All EMSs have been experiencing labor shortages and across all positions, not just paramedics, but EMTs, AMTs. And so I'm speaking with Director Beatty and some others, it suggested that we expand this program to include EMTs and AMTs. And there's actually a resolution that'll be coming to the county commission, just expanding the existing program that's put in place several years ago. And this would actually put funding with that. This comes from American Rescue Fund. It can be used for these public health expenditures like this. And that is to basically help kind of create our own workforce development pipeline to help with some of our labor issues.
Mr. Gully?
Is this a recurring fund that you're proposing here?
This right here is initially going to be out of the American Rescue Fund as a one-time funding. We're not, right now, don't anticipate using all of it. So there should still be some sitting there left over as we go forward.
So my question again was this a recurring piece? I know you said it's coming out of ARPA, but if we're starting a program, is that program going to have to be continued to be funded? Or are we just saying this is a one-time, here's our option at it?
If the program is set up, it'll be up to the county commission if it's in the budget every year to choose to fund it. If maybe you get to a point where it went away before, it could possibly go away again if you get to a point where you don't think you need it.
All right, my next question,
It is already voted in. It is already in place. We
Without
just
the
never
funding.
have funded it.
Correct.
And no one has questioned it or asked about it until recently.
it's in place without the funding.
Right.
So the structure is there, just no funding for that piece. So my next question on that part, working in the education system, this is through Ball State. Travis County students have a great opportunity to go to Ball State free. That is, you leave Travis County schools, you leave any school in these areas. We now fund a K-14 education is there and available. So all they've got to do is apply to go to that piece. So why would we need to fund that additionally when it's already in place and funded for any student that wants to leave this our county and go to Ball State and get the EMT program? It is completely funded.
It was suggested to put this in place because if they go, then they use their funding through the state or anything like that. It's used up and it's gone. If we did this here, instead of somebody wanting to go back to reconnect or connect or anything like this, that it would just basically serve as an incentive. So this was a recommendation that came to us.
So I guess I'm asking a question a little different here. You're saying that as an incentive, so this is like extra on top of if a student goes to Ball State, gets the scholarships to go and they get an additional on top of that? Is that what I heard you say then?
No, actually, you heard me say that they could use this instead of some of their other funding, like say Reconnect or something like that. And they would preserve that funding if they wanted to go further or do something different in the future. And this would serve as an incentive to them to preserve those fundings as they go forward.
Mr. Clarity, you recognize?
I thought when we voted on to do this, this was paying for their education, long as they stayed here and worked. If they left, they had to pay it back. Is that not correct?
Yes, sir. In
I
the
think
memorandum,
that's the way it's in there
in the
now.
memorandum of understanding that we have and that we're just adding EMTs and AMTs to it. If they use this funding, that they had to work for Travis County EMS for 3 years as a full-time employee.
I think it would be better understood if that was in here somewhere so people would know how it was really going to work instead of just saying you're giving them, paying it.
Mr. Buckmaster?
Just for clarification, I'm reading this correctly. This is only available to employees of the ambulance service. Is that correct?
Under that existing program, yes, the memorandum of understanding that was passed some years ago, it said that they had to be full-time employees of the EMS to be eligible.
Mayor, do you think that needs to be changed?
Well, let me see if they would become full-time employees. Now it needs to be changed. What do you want to add?
I know, I kind of feel like it would be possibly advisable to open it to some of the other departments and personnel that might want to avail themselves of this, such as some of our fire personnel or even some of the people employed by the sheriff's department. If they're already employees, they want to move into this. Is that kind of what you may have?
Well, I was going towards there's been some pretty heavy requests to get your volunteers to do this who are not employees and under this memorandum of agreement. I'm not sure how you pay that back as an unpaid volunteer. And sign a 3-year agreement and all that's pretty gray to me, just to be honest with you.
I think, I'll make a comment. I think Mr. Gully has put some light on something. Back when this was written in 2013, there was no scholarship form of a local 2-year degree at Vol State, but now there is. So this may bring on a whole different aspect where we may want to take a look at this from a lot of different angles. Can somebody graduate from high school and be from here in Tazewell County and maybe have an opportunity to do some things here locally? I know I said something to Mr. Beatty about trying to see if we could capture some people that were here in terms of trying to help out of his department in terms of EMS or paramedics or EMTs. So it may be one of those things where in some cases we may be able to get assistance from the volunteer state itself where it's not going to cost us anything, but then there might be others that may not be under that umbrella. Maybe they're a bit older. Maybe they're with the fire department now, or maybe they're with another department. We might have to kind of look at these things on a case-by-case basis to see if in some cases, maybe we can supplement where Vol State may not give them any assistance, but in other cases, maybe we can encourage some of the young people out of high school where they can do that. So it may be a bit of both as we start to look at this, because what he said in 2013, that was not the case. So just something to think about.
Any other questions on this? This could be used at other schools. There are other schools other than Vol State that offer this training, do they not?
Yes, there are other schools, but not really near us. TCAT was looking at getting into it. TCAT Livingston offers these because there's only so many that are allowed under the state, and they are trying to expand that, but the closest one to us right now is at Vol State. And we are working to put together a training program where they would have an off-campus class here in Trousdale County.
In some ways, this is very similar with a new program that we adopted this last year with the water department, where they can go for some of their certification trainings, and we'll help with the cost of that so that they can have more people certified to move up the ladder. So this is a model that's been adopted, I think, in a lot of public service type situations and departments. I think it's good. I don't remember us doing it in 2013. I don't know whose idea it was, who brought it to us, why it kind of went away. I want to remember that it was Mr. Kirby he was director possibly then. Mr. Buckmaster, you're shaking your head. No, do you remember who it was?
Yeah, it was one female that wanted to advance from EMT to paramedic, but didn't have the money to do it. So we approved this to allow her to do it, and she did not complete that.
So it was strictly at that time just for paramedic training. Okay. And you had to be, this one would be both. Is that correct, Mayor?
Well, it'll be EMTs, advanced EMTs and paramedics.
Well, y'all think about it. If you got questions, try to get it. We'll take it up Monday night. Mr. Gully, you're recognized.
So do we know the cost of these programs? I mean, what does it cost per student to go to this program?
The tuition is a little under 3,000, so it's like 2,978, something like that.
Is that per semester, per?
It's one semester, yes. An EMT class should be just one semester. We're in the EMTs one semester, whereas paramedic is a full year.
So it's 6,000 if you want to send somebody for an EMT. Did I hear that correctly? You
I'm
said,
sorry.
Paramedic would be 6,000.
I don't have a number on the paramedic. The last one I saw was somewhere around 7, I believe.
So do we know if there's any employees that have requested? It sounds like originally this was put in place because of requests to go. Do we have an interested body at this point or bodies that are wanting to go?
Two of the people that are currently serving as drivers for the EMS under an exception under the state have expressed interest in taking this program and becoming EMTs.
So it states here that upon completion, that they would have to work for 3 years, but if we paid for it and they don't complete the school, we don't get the money back when they go to school. Is there anything for,
Well, there's also another memorandum of understanding. It's in your commission packet that would, I think they have to reimburse us for all the expenditures if they don't complete the program.
Mr. Buckmaster, I believe you were.
I just wanted to reaffirm that I absolutely agree with this program. That being said, given the push to have your volunteers attend this program and the fact that I know there are many who want to take it, I would love to see the county come up with a way to provide this for a limited number of people without reimbursement. Put a limit on the number of students that you can have and give preference to those already serving in EMS, EMA, rescue, fire, and provide them with what they want. If you truly want to build a pool within the county, that's how you're going to build a pool, not by giving it to the 1 or 2 employees who currently work there. You're not building a pool. You're only taking up the slack, so to speak.
I agree 100%. Mr. Nolner, you're recognized.
The young lady that took the paramedic, she went to school for 1 semester, or I can't remember how long she exactly went, but she did pay the money back that we had give her. And that was one of the rules. If it didn't go all the way through it, they had to pay back. And she did pay the money back.
Well, obviously, there are some details that we need to work out and be a little bit more attuned to. But I think overall, probably this is a good program if we can work out the kinks, so to speak. I think it's a good point that you brought up, Mr. Gully, about the tuition and for sure that people here that want to go to school at Ball State, certainly now can. And I think thank you for bringing that out. Yes, sir.
might add to that, the Martin family left quite a bit of a sum of money that students as well. So not only do our students from Travis County graduate Travis County schools can go to Ball State for that K-14 education that's provided through the state of Tennessee for anybody, they also can receive on top of that Martin scholarship when they apply through Travis County schools, which provides enough to pretty much pay their books, pay their time back and forth there to school. There's some very good opportunities for our students from Travis County schools to head straight into Ball State, get a 2-year of something, or get these work-related jobs right now, ready to go with money that will provide them to go through those pieces on top of not just their tuition paid. Listen, it costs money to get there with books. It costs money to get back and forth with fuel, but those things will put some money in those kids' pocket to get back and forth to school. Those already exist is all I was saying. They're there. I don't disagree at all. This is a pretty strong program. I just think we need to know all the details behind the pieces a little bit deeper and know what the expectations are.
The Martin scholarships and things, are that strictly for graduating seniors, or
That's correct.
can anybody just go in there in Ball State and say, I want to get this scholarship, been out of school for 4 or 5 years?
Martin Scholarship is through Trousdale County Schools for graduating
Right.
seniors filled out that year that they leave and graduate. That's
But
correct.
the state scholarships, or the money that's available through the lottery,
Can go back.
it can be anybody at any age, any time. Is that correct?
They can go back. I don't know about any age. I'd have to look at that a little bit
Okay.
deeper, but they can go back. I know that you could have been in the workforce a couple of years, got graduated from Tennessee and go back. Some school in Tennessee.
I fully admit I'm totally out of my league on this. Ms. Jackson, Jones,
The Martin scholarships, those are just for your valedictorian and salutatorian, is that correct, or they've expanded it?
everybody
Okay, so
that
it's.
wants
it's-
to go to Ball State
Okay,
can go to Ball State.
Okay.
And it not cost them anything,
okay.
as long as they pass.
It did used to be that way though, didn't it? A long time ago?
The
Can't tell you
Martin
how long.
scholarship's been in effect for probably 15 years now, maybe more. maybe
afraid-
20.
I'm afraid it's a little longer than that. I
Yeah,
went through Ball
okay,
State
okay.
some years ago. I guess that'd be 20 years ago, and I went through it on the Martin Scholarship then, so it was available at least 20 years ago. I promise I wasn't valedictorian.
Well, I believe it.
I still think I moved here last year. You know, time gets by me. It's hard to believe it's been as long as it has, half a lifetime. Mr. Clarendon,
I think we need to send this back and have some more studying done on it and come back with a more clarification on everything, how it's gonna be done and all of that before we take any vote on it. Because there's a lot of questions been brought up and how it's gonna be spent, who can do it and all of this.
well, I think this had already been through steering committee, had it not, Mayor?
Yes, sir. The memorandum of understanding was at the steering committee and they sent it to the county commission. So if the county commission wants to send it somewhere else, they'll have to do that.
I think maybe we can get some answers to some of these things and maybe work out some of these details between now and next Monday. So I'd like to see us, this is just our work session. We're really not here to try to decide anything other than have discussion and see if we need more information on things. So I think those are valid points and valid questions. Hopefully we can get some answers between now and next Monday night. Did you have something to say, Mr. Harley? I'm sorry, but this is budget and finance. You're right. This is a budget amendment. I'm getting ahead of myself now. I'm showing my age. Thank you. Mr. Nolan.
We have a meeting the 21st, EMS does. If, when it comes to other discussion, we could be brought up then. I guess, I don't know, can it?
And I really think everybody's kind of in favor of this. It's already in place. All you're doing is trying to find some money to fund it. There again, this money is not, whether it's sitting in this account and not spent or it's sitting in this account and not spent, it's still not spent unless it's needed and used. And this has already been approved. There are some changes that we're looking at doing to it to expand it a bit. But as far as the budget amendment, I think we can leave it on the agenda. If we turn it down, we can send it back somewhere else Monday night if we want to turn it down, or if we want to go ahead with it, we can.
One last question before we go to that part of the discussion. Do we have any individuals that are looking to take this on starting, their school's going to kick up first semester, end of August, middle to the end of August in Ball State? Do we have somebody ready right now to go into that program? I know, I
We
heard you
do
say,
have, like I said, we had the two that were the drivers right now that were interested in taking it. I've been told to others, plus also Macon County sending some down here because the class is going to be here in Trousdale. So yeah, there are some interested.
so beyond just interested, usually you have to have applied, been accepted into the program. Usually someone has to have applied, been accepted into a program. Do we have that process already in place?
That's all being handled by Vol State.
I would like for us to back up on the school budget, vote on that, to recommend that to the full body or not, to add that. Mr. Gully? Have a motion by Mr. Gully, and Mr. Gregory gets a second on that. Any further discussion on it? I'm sorry, I just failed for us to vote. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed, say no. Okay, on this budget amendment, do we want it to go forward? Is there a motion to send this on? Ms. Jackson makes a motion to send it forward. Is there a second? Is there a second on this one? Mr. Harsh makes a second. Okay, any further discussion on it? All this is sending it to the full body next Monday night. All in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay. We'll do a show of hands. All in favor, please raise your hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Opposed? 1 opposed. Any abstentions? Okay, it is. We'll take it up Monday night, try to get these questions answered and think we can nail this down. Like I said, it's not a question of doing it. It's already in place to do it. It's just a matter of whether we want to park some money to fund it at this point. Tweak it a bit, I'm sure. Okay. I believe that's all we have for budget and finance tonight. Mayor, do you have anything additional?
No, sir.
Amy, did that cover everything? Okay, commissioners, did y'all have anything? Mr. Clarity?
I think the school board's supposed to be opening the bids tomorrow night for the paving done at the high school. Is anybody gonna be there from the county to see what that price is gonna be?
Okay, tell me again, the school board is opening bids on the parking lot paving project.
Tomorrow night.
Tomorrow night.
supposedly. And since we see if we're gonna spend all that 115, or is it done give to them, or see if they need it, or?
I'd be glad for you to attend if you don't mind.
Volunteer me, huh?
I mean, I'll try to if it's where I can. I'm not sure what I've got. I've got church all this week. We've got Bible school. I plan to be there, but I can, maybe I can try to be there if you think we need to, but certainly I'd be glad for you to be there. Okay. Thank you. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. Anyone else have anything? Okay. Public comments? See none?